Good afternoon, DUT Rise students, and welcome to our first webinar. Thank you so much for joining in today. And thank you so much for all the hard administrative work that you guys have been putting in. We truly appreciate it. My name is Ronelle Lyson, and with me I have my team, which is Sakile Sitole and Swelishle Shoba, and we have our wonderful Mr. Tsepo from Blackbullion Wafunda. I'm going to give him the chance to introduce himself, and we're going to kick off with the webinar. We are going to say a special word, so please keep a hear out for it, which you need to, when you are completing the survey, you need to add that word so we know that you've been here for the duration and we know that you've watched the webinar, because it's important that you do that. I'm going to hand over to Mr. Tepo.
Thank you so much. Happy Thursday. Hope everybody's good and that you guys are having a fantastic day. This is actually my second webinar for the day. So back-to-back things. It's absolutely busy. But thank you guys so much for giving me a chance to meet with you guys. And yeah, to tell you a bit about some of the great work that we do. I'm going to quickly share my presentation. I'll just bring it up real quickly. Just let me know when you guys can see it. Should be popping up. Awesome. So it should be coming up. So today's session is all about building a relationship with money. I'm going to tell you a bit about some of the work that we do, about the Blackbullion platform. But more than anything, I'm just hoping that I'll inspire you guys to start thinking a little bit differently about your money, about how you spend your moolah. So this webinar, there's a partner that we work with called Paymentology, and they have given me a number of vouchers that I can give away during some of my webinars. So I just want to give them a little bit of a shout out. So there is a QR code that you can scan for you to rate the webinar, but I'll share this with you guys after the webinar. I want you guys to stay focused, to stay committed, to stay engaged in terms of the webinar. So before I get into who I am, what we do, there's just a couple of things that I wanted to share with you guys. Some truths about money. I know money makes us quite emotional, makes us quite scary. We have a lot of emotions and thoughts when it comes to money. But a couple of things that I just wanted to share with you guys. Money is a really powerful tool, and it has the power to free you, and it has the power to imprison you, right? Money is also very personal. It's a journey that you will have to undertake on your own, and to learn, and hopefully through access to Blackbullion, it's a beautiful journey. Money also makes us very emotional. It's something that you guys will pick up during the course of this webinar. The fourth thing is that money is very psychological, right? Believe it or not, it's very, very psychological. I've got a couple of examples that I'll be sharing with you guys. The fifth thing is that being good with money, it doesn't require you to be rich, doesn't require you to be a genius, right? And the last thing you will learn about money is that money is all about behavior, right? When your allowance or your salary or your stipend comes in, what's the first thing that you do? And you'll start to see that behavior is a really, really important and interesting thing. So what are we going to do in this webinar? We're going to spill the tea, which means we're going to do a little bit of some gossiping. We'll do a quick money quiz and voucher giveaway. I'll be talking a bit about a wealth psychology story. We'll talk about building a relationship with your money. We'll talk about the different money personalities. Believe it or not, we've all got a money personality. And then we'll do a Q&A session at the end. It's any questions around money, around the Blackbullion platform, anything that you'd like to ask. We'll be taking some of those questions. And of course, you can also follow us on social media. This is information that we do share once you guys come onto the platform. Please do remember to mute when you do come into the room so that you don't disturb other people. Please remember to mute. Alrighty, so my name is Tsepo Kapane. I work for a social enterprise called Wafunda, and essentially we use technology to support young people, to make sure that young people have access to education, to make sure that young people have access to opportunities. So one of the companies we work with is Phoenix, and a lot of you guys will know about Phoenix being the crowdfunding platform. So what we do on the Wafunda side is we've got a digital financial literacy platform that we developed for young people. It is not a course, guys. This is not a course that you can do in 2 weeks and then you are budgeting with. No. This is a tool that you can access when you want information about money. So you are experiencing a money moment. Maybe you're thinking of saving, or you want to start investing, or you've heard about crypto, or you want to write your CV. It is a tool that you can access to give you information so that you can make better decisions with your money. It is not a course. It's more like your financial companion. So it's a platform that we designed specifically for young people. It is a digital platform. You can access it on your phone, on your tablet, on your computer. It's a web platform. It's not an app as yet. The app is not available to South African users, but we're busy working on that. On the platform, there are articles, there are videos, which we call a pathway, and I'll show you guys what that looks like. There's a budgeting tool, there's a money personality tool, but really it is a tool to help you make decisions when it comes to your money. There's more than 10,000 students on this specific platform, so it's really great. How do you get access to the platform? Over the last 2 weeks, you would have received an email invitation, right? Sometimes that invitation will go into your spam, but you would have received an email invitation. You click on that email invitation, it'll then ask you to register, and then you get access to the platform. If you are having any issue, you didn't get the email is not working, whatever the case may be, just pop us an email, blackbullion@wafunda.com. Those that have reached out to us, the email either went into the spam or they've given us the incorrect email. It's okay, we can sort it out. So just check your inbox, check your spam. If you still can't find it, pop us an email, blackbullion@wafunda.com, and we will make sure that you've got access to the platform. So I'm going to quickly show you guys what the platform looks like, and then I want to continue with the webinar, because sometimes you talk about this thing, it's sexy, it's great, it works, and then sometimes people want to say, but we want to see it, type of what it looks like, right? So I've just shared my screen. So this is what the Blackbullion platform looks like. I'm going to quickly just zoom in. And essentially, you guys will get access to this library of content, right? Lots of different types of content. If you click on Student Portal, there's a library. So we've categorized all of this content as well. If you're looking for content on investing, on earning, on budgeting, on saving, on anything related to money or student life, you'll be able to find it here. So one of the questions we've been getting is, what is a pathway? So if you look at these different tiles, you'll see there's some that say pathway, right? So these that say pathway, these are your animated videos or slides. These are your interactive lessons. So if I click on Budgeting 101 as an example, this is how you'll know you'll have a pathway. Normally there is a video, there are lessons on the right-hand side. And then when you complete this pathway, there's then a challenge of 10 questions. So we can see, when did you start a pathway? How many lessons have you completed? What score did you get for this pathway? So once you have a score for a pathway, we know you've completed it. So there's 10 of these different pathways covering things like budgeting, saving, investing, student lifestyle, and the challenge to try and do 3 of these, right? That's the big challenge that we have. But you guys have the openness of the library to do any content that you'd like to do. So that's just a quick little demo around what the Blackbullion platform specifically looks like. But more than anything, I just want to talk a bit about building a relationship with your money. What does it mean? And just get you guys excited a bit about money, right? So I think a great place to start, and I'd love for you guys to just get into the chat and to just share your answers. I was thinking about this question earlier this morning. If your money could speak, what do you think it would say about you? Right? If your money could speak, it had a voice, what do you think it would say about you? And if your money was to say something negative, what do you need to do in order for your money to say something different in the future? Right? So if your money could speak, what would it say about you? All right, let me go into the chat. Let me see if anybody's already shared anything. If your money could speak, what would it say about you? Let me rest. That's what Casey Tolle says. At Essentenga says, it would say, I am tired. Give me a break, Chief. Give me a break. This is what it says. Use me wisely, Sissy, please. And Tuli says, respect me. Show me love. So it's really interesting when you ask people, if your money could speak, what would it say about you? Tetwa says, my money would say, I'm disappointed in you. So I'll ask again, if your money is saying something negative, what do you need to do so that in the future it says something different, right? Clearly something has to change in this relationship, right? So let me go back into my presentation. It should be popping up onto the screen. Thank you guys so much for sharing. So to just break up the tension, to get people to relax a little bit, I want to play a little bit of a game with you guys, right? So like I mentioned earlier on, thanks to Paymentology, we can always give away some goodies. And I'm in the mood to give away some Uber vouchers. So if you want to Uber, maybe you want to Uber to campus, maybe you want to Uber back from the club, whatever the case may be, I'm going to give you 100 Rand Uber voucher. The question is, what do you need to do to win the voucher? Very, very simple. So I've got two money-related questions, right? I'm going to read what the question is. The first person to answer it correctly in the chat will win the voucher. So I'm going to ask Ronel and the team to check and tell us who the first person is that gets it correctly, right? Yeah, and see if they can assist us. So two questions. First person to answer the question correctly in the chat. Yes.
Maybe they can put their hand up because they are able to unmute and tell you the answer.
All right,
so that would be a more
let's do that.
Easier method.
Perfect. So the first person who thinks they've got it correctly will put up their hand. And then we'll give that person an opportunity to basically answer the question. So because I can't see the screen, Ronald, will you just let me know who put their hand up first, and we'll give them a chance and see if they can answer it correctly. So this is a test question, So let's just say the question was, what's the biggest bank in South Africa? You put up your hand, it's Capitec. That's the example. And then you win the voucher. It's that simple. So 2 money questions, quickest fingers first, that gets it correctly wins. So this is the first question. What is a TFSA? It's got to do with money. It's got to do with saving. What is a TFSA? What does it stand for? What is it? First person to raise their hand will definitely be winning that voucher. So I quickly change screens to try and see what I can get first correctly. I think it was Cindy Mtembu. Mtembu, can you give us an answer? What does the TFSA stand for?
It's a tax-free savings account.
Yeah, shout out to you. That's absolutely right. It is a tax-free savings account. Absolutely, I've gotten that right. I'll ask the team, Ronel and the rest of the team, to please share your details with me, your contact details, name, surname, email address, and cell phone number, and we will get you sorted out with that Uber voucher. Alrighty, so we're going to get into the second person now. Right? Are we ready for the second question? Are we ready for the second question?
Guys, sorry, Tsepo. Guys, let Tsepo say the question first before you put your hands up. That's cheating. Come now. Come now.
Look, the next question has a trick. So I'm happy people are rushing because there's a little bit of a trick. Please don't Google, please don't cheat. We'll try to see if people can get it right. Guys, please unmute for now until you are asked to put up your hand. So this is the next and final question. There is a trick with this question. What are the 5 animals on the different South African banknotes? There's a trick to this question. Esentenga, I saw that hand go very quickly up. Unmute, give us the answer. What are the 5 different animals on the South African banknotes? Over to you.
It's the rhino, the elephant, the lion, the buffalo, and a leopard.
Now tell me, what type of buffalo is it?
I'm not sure about that one, but
there's the trick. What type of buffalo? What type of buffalo?
The black buffalo.
No, it's not a black buffalo. It's not a black buffalo. All right, so I'm going to move on to somebody else. The trick is, what type of buffalo is it? It's a very specific buffalo. It's not just any. It's special. It's something. Let me give it over to Samkelo. Samkelo, what are those 5 animals? Samkelo, unmute.
Should I list the 5 animals first?
Give us all 5. Give us all 5.
Okay, it's animal, lion, buffalo, rhino, and elephant.
There's something missing there. There's something that sounded like it was 4. Where's the 5th one?
I said lion, buffalo, elephant, cheetah, and elephant.
But here's my question. What type of buffalo?
African buffalo.
No, it's not an African buffalo. Let me go to somebody else. Zikali, Arzikali.
Zikali, yeah, R
Yes.
Zikali.
Arzikali, come for me. Give me those 5 animals. Give me those 5 animals.
It's the rhino, elephant, lion, cheetah, and buffalo. And it's a southern savanna buffalo.
No, it's not. No, it's
Ah,
not. Sounds fancy, but it's definitely not that. Let's go over to somebody else.
I think
Ooh-wee.
it'd be Casey Tole.
Okay, let's go. Let's go. Give us that answer.
Casey Tole, you can unmute.
So it's a rhino, it's an elephant, it's rhino, elephant, leopard. What else, Konje? But it's a buffalo, African buffalo.
Not an African buffalo. It's so interesting. We use money on a daily basis, but nobody's ever asked what type of buffalo is this. We just spend the money. We just eat the money. Alrighty. So who's going to be the next one, Ronald? Have you spotted the next person?
Hey, it's in Ngwane who has their hand up next.
All right. And Ngwane, give me those 5 animals. Give me those 5 animals. I trust you. I trust you.
It's the lion, elephant, buffalo, leopard, and a rhino.
And what type of buffalo is it?
A Cape buffalo?
Yes, finally somebody gets it right. Yes, it's a Cape buffalo. It's not just any buffalo, it's a Cape buffalo. And it's super interesting that we use money on a daily basis, but nobody ever notices or asks, like, what type of animal is this? Such an interesting question. So, lion, elephant, rhino, Cape buffalo, and a leopard. Big shout out to you. I did say there will be more opportunities to win. I'll share that survey courtesy of Paymentology. We do have other vouchers, Checkers vouchers, Uber vouchers, Take a Lot vouchers. We still got a whole lot of vouchers. So let's quickly continue with the webinar. So one thing you guys will pick up is that I'm very passionate about financial education. It's something that is so important to me. And I'm going to share my story as to how did I get into this industry. So a couple of years ago, I was a student at WITS. I was doing my BCom law. And I was always a hustler. I was always busy. I was always doing things. So when I got to campus, I was a DJ because I learned how to DJ when I was in high school. So I was a DJ on campus. I was doing club events. So I lived in an area called Bramfontein, which is like a student central area. There were a lot of clubs. I was a club DJ. I'd host events. I also used to do promotions, not this fancy influencer stuff. You know those promotions where somebody is selling a new dish liquid at Pick and Pay, and they've got like a t-shirt and everything. That was me. That was my old school type of influencing. So I was always interested in making money. I was always active. I was always busy with things. And then a friend of mine said, you know, Tepo, you've got such a beautiful voice and such a warm personality. You do so well on radio. And I was like, hey, if the opportunity comes, I'll take it. And so Wits then decided to launch a campus radio station called the Voice of Wits FM. And they were looking for students to join the radio station as volunteers. So we wouldn't get paid, but they would teach you how to use the equipment, how to speak, how to do a radio show. And I was so excited. So I went, I applied, I joined, I got in. And so I became a DJ basically. And I had a whole radio show on campus. So at my campus show, I was a club DJ, I was doing events, I was still doing promotions. And after about a year, a radio station reached out to me, a commercial radio station called YFM. So YFM is very similar to Ikakasi FM, very, very similar to them. It's a big radio station here in Joburg, very popular. Everybody knows it. And the boss at YFM said to me, Tipo, we know you were a student at WITS, you're doing your BCom law. We've been following you. We've been listening to your campus radio show. You've got a good following. Would you be interested in doing a radio show on the weekends on YFM? So you do a show on a Saturday and on a Sunday, you would do it for 3 hours. And I was like, sure, definitely, I'm going to do it. You know, so I signed a contract with them and I joined YFM and I was earning 8,000 Rand at the time. And now 8,000 Rand for a student is crazy money, guys. I was a big bowler. I was a big bowler. So I was earning 8,000 Rand from YFM. But what naturally happened is because I was within the space of entertainment, my followers started to go up. So my social media following was going up. I was getting bookings to clubs. I was getting bookings to do voice work because my voice is really powerful. So I was doing really, really well. I was getting really, really popular. And then two TV stations reached out to me, Soweto TV and MTV Base, and they were like, "Listen, we know you do radio. Would you be interested in doing TV?" And I ended up having two TV shows. So I had two TV shows. I had this radio show. Guys, it was getting crazy. So in a bad month, I was making around 35K. Because as you can imagine, I'm getting paid from TV, radio, gigs, and all of that. In a good month, I was making close to about 70K. As a student, it was crazy, guys. It was pandemonium. I lost my mind. And the first thing that I did is I bought this piece right here that you guys can see on the screen. I went and got myself the vrpa. I was like, I need to spoil myself. I need to get myself something sexy, something nice. And to be honest with you, this was the biggest financial mistake that I ever made. The reason I say that is I realize now that I didn't buy this car because I like it. It's a nice car, but I bought it to make a point. I bought it to make a statement. I almost felt like I'm a student, but I'm famous. You can't see me walking. I can't be a tech scene. What am I doing at tech scene? You know, if I'm on campus, they must know that I've arrived, you know? So I went and made this mistake of buying this car that I had no business buying. And after about 6 months, my boss at YFM said to me, Tepo, you've been doing really, really great. Just know that at the end of the year, we're going to be reviewing your contract. And there's a chance that we may either give you a new contract or we may cancel your contract going forward. So I'm like, oh my God. So I've signed a 12-month contract. I thought I'd be here at YFM forever, and this thing may end. And when I look at the first couple of months, I don't know what I've done with this money. This money is coming into my account. It's coming in, it's going out. I've bought this car. I'm buying clothes. I'm traveling. I'm this big boy. Like, there's nothing I can point to that I've done with this money, right? So I then said to myself, all right, if YFM gives me another contract, if these TV stations give me another contract, I'm going to do something different with this money. Because clearly in the entertainment industry, nothing lasts forever. You have 12 months to make it happen. And I was like, I need to do something better, something different with this money. So I then committed myself. And I didn't know where to start. You know, when I talked to my family, my friends, people were so uncomfortable talking about money. When I asked my family, my friends about money, people are uncomfortable, people are being weird. You know, I'm trying to read books, I'm listening to podcasts, I'm going to webinars. And eventually I just fall in love with money. And I realized, Uguti, you know, all the rooms that I'm entering into, all the books that I'm reading, all the events that I'm going into, there's very few young Black people that look like me that are interested in finance. You don't need to be a finance expert, but we're interested in shares, in investing, in crypto. And I just became really interested in it. And then I decided I want to do something better. So I created an initiative called Youth Money Circle because I had all this influence. So I decided I'm going to start doing free events for young people where I've got a DJ, I've got slush, I've got popcorn, and I'm going to invite speakers to come and talk to young people about money, but to make it fun and engaging and interactive. And it's been a massive success. I've done events with more than 5,000 young people across the country, free events. And I've had this opportunity to work with so many different brands, the Easy Equities, the Lunos, the Capitex, the Standard Banks. I've worked with all the brands because I was just so interested in better understanding my own money and then realizing that money is very complicated, right? But during this journey, I made so many mistakes with money that I want to share with you guys in the hope that you guys hear them, you understand them, and you make better decisions than I did, right? So as I'm learning about money, I'm going through all of these things. There's something that was bothering me, right? There was something that just didn't make sense to me. We've all heard that it's good to save money. Maybe we don't save, but we've heard, Guti, you know, you should save money. We've all heard that we should invest money. We've all heard that you shouldn't live beyond your means, right? We've all heard that you should have a budget, right? We've all heard these things about money. But when I'm doing research, I'm hearing that people don't do them. If saving, investing, budgeting, if these things are so important, why don't South Africans do them? Right? Because what I'm reading is we don't do these things. So I'm like, what is it? Why don't we do it? And when I did this session a couple of years ago, somebody said to me, no, Tepo, the reason we don't do it is we don't have money. Tepo, what are we saving and investing? And then I said to them, how do you explain this show? I blew it on Mzansi Magic. For those that have never heard of this show before, it is a show where it profiles individuals who have won or have earned a huge sum of money and they basically blew this money, right? So I'm not bringing them up to be nasty or to be weird, but these are individuals who got more money, but they didn't save, they didn't invest, they didn't budget. So it's not true that when you have more money, you make better decisions. So I'm like, what's going on? Like, why aren't people making better decisions with money? And what I discovered is that money is a very interesting and complex thing. And us as human beings, we're very weird, right? And I realized that money is very emotional and psychological. So what I discovered is that we all have a different relationship with money. And what makes this relationship unique is our upbringing. We come from different households. It's our environment, it's our friends, our family, our levels of education, the cultures that we come from. All of these things shape the way in which we view money. They shape the way in which we respect money, right? So you can have two different individuals and you give each of them 1,000 rand and they will use this money differently. Why? Right? So I discovered Uguti, we all have these different money personalities. So we all influence different when it comes to money. Some of us respect it, some of us don't respect it, right? But some of us come from households where money is a topic that we openly talk about, right? Some families they talk about saving and investing and budgeting. Some of us come from households where money is a big secret. We never talk about money. The only time we talk about money is the fact that we don't have it. For this thing that you want, we don't have money. We never have positive conversations about money. And then when we grow older, it has an impact on us. So I'm learning that money is very psychological. And as I'm learning, I discover something really interesting. How we behave with money defines our relationship with money, right? Yo, so guys, I'm learning so many things. I'm like, this is so crazy. And then I come across this book called The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel. And there's this really interesting quote in this book, and it basically says, a genius who loses control of their emotions can be a financial disaster. So even if you've got a PhD, even if you've got a CA, even if you're a genius, even if you're Einstein, if you cannot control your emotions, you're going to have a problem with money. If I go back to this show and you've watched it, people lose their minds. There's literally an episode where this guy bought 6 cars, including an ambulance. Why on earth would you buy an ambulance? Why? I think this guy didn't even have a Lenners. So if you cannot control your emotions, you're going to become a financial disaster. The quote then says, the opposite is also true. Ordinary people can be wealthy if they have a handful of behavioral skills that have nothing to do with formal measures of intelligence. Did you hear that English? Very simply put, what Morgan Housel is saying is this. When it comes to money, it doesn't matter how smart you are. It doesn't even matter how much money you have. The most important thing is how do you behave when you have money? Are you able to control your emotions? Right? And that's such a powerful thing. Right? So as I'm reading this book, I'm discovering things about myself. And then I come across this really interesting rule, which is called the 2080 rule. And this rule basically says, if you want to have a positive relationship with money, it is 20% knowledge, what do you know, and 80% behavior. What do you do with that information? So let me use an example that has nothing to do with money. So let's just imagine for a second, right, that I decide I want to go on a weight loss journey. So I'm a big guy. If you've ever met me, I'm a very big guy. But let's just decide, December's around the corner. I want to be running around in the beaches of Devon, topless. I want people to see my 6-pack. I don't have a 6-pack right now, guys. I've got a big stomach, but let's just say I wanted a 6-pack. Right? What would I do? I'd go to the gym and I'd see a personal trainer, and the personal trainer would say, Kentepo, I need you to come to the gym on Monday, on Wednesday, on Friday. I need you to do cardio. I need you to run. I need you to do all these things. All right. I'd go see a dietitian, and the dietitian would say to me, okay, Tepo, this is a diet. So these are the things that I want you to eat and the portions. These are the things that I want you to avoid. These things are the knowledge, the information. What determines if I'm going to lose weight is how I behave with the information. So now I am not going to gym. I'm blue ticking the personal trainer. When I see him, I'm ducking and diving. I'm eating amagwenya and amakota, and I'm eating burgers. There is no ways that I'm going to lose weight, right? Same thing with money. The knowledge is there. Save, invest, budget. In fact, there are free tools like Blackbullion. That's the knowledge. But if your behavior doesn't match the knowledge, you will never have a good relationship with money. If your behavior does not match the knowledge, you will never have a good relationship with money. I want you guys to hear me properly. It's important to save, it's important to invest, it's important to budget. But if your behavior doesn't match it, it will not change your relationship with money. And so I'm learning these things. I'm like, I'm learning a lot here. Right? And then I discover, most of the time when I've made mistakes with money, right, it was always linked to an emotion. I was in love, I was lazy, I was feeling under pressure. Most of the time when I've made financial mistakes, it was linked to money. When I bought the GTI, it was an emotional purchase, right? I bought this thing because I was trying to make a statement, right? So I'm just curious for you guys to maybe just think a bit about it. And those who are brave can raise their hand, unmute, and share. But I just want you guys to think a bit about it. When last did you make an emotional purchase, and what did you buy? So I want us to be intentional about the way in which we utilize money. But I know when you start to ask pointed questions about money, people get nervous. So I'll go first. I'll share. I'm happy to share. So about 2.5 years ago, I was on Instagram, and I'm not a big social media person, but whatever reason on this day I was on Instagram. And you know how on Instagram there is the explore page, and when you click explore, you see random accounts, right? It's accounts that you're not following, but it's random accounts that you will see. Guys, I came across this account, the most beautiful woman I have ever seen in my entire life. Curly hair, caramel skin. You know where this person is so beautiful, you're like, this is a catfish. AKAI, AI, AI. That's how beautiful she was. I was like, yo, this girl's gorgeous. So I'm going through her profile, I like a couple of pictures, right? Like a couple of pictures. I didn't decide to follow. Guess what, guys? She follows me back. But I don't get too excited. I don't get too excited. Like, just follow me back. Sometimes people just follow back for courtesy. So I don't get excited. But I'm continuing to go through her pictures. I'm liking a couple of her pictures. Guess what, guys? She likes a couple of my pictures. Once again, I still don't get excited because sometimes as you're scrolling on Instagram, you like by mistake. So I'm like, you know what? Let me get into the DMs. Let me see if she's going to respond. So get into the DMs, introduce myself. She responds. We have a really, really great chat. It then moves from Instagram to WhatsApp. And the moment you get to WhatsApp, things are hot. Things are working out, right? So have a chat. And eventually I said, look, I'd really like to take you out on a date. What are your thoughts? And she agrees. So we planned the date. But before we went on the date, I was feeling, this feeling of insecurity and nervousness, butterflies, but I couldn't quite understand why I was feeling a bit insecure before the date. And then I realized on her Instagram, she's well put together. Nails are done, hair is done, makeup is done. Like she's well put together. And if you ever meet me, I'm just a regular guy. I don't wear branded clothes. I'm just a type. But I'm like, if I'm gonna go on this date, I need to dress to impress, right? She's gonna make an effort. I gotta make an effort. So I went and bought these pair of sneakers for 2,500 rand. Oh, guys, it's the money I could have used for petrol. It's money I could have used to pay debt, but I spent 2,500 rand on these sneakers for the date. And I'm crying about this money, right? So the money is gone. The only positive thing that has happened in this entire thing is that I got the girl. I got the girl, I secured the girl, but the money is gone. And somebody was asking me, Tepa, why are you complaining about the money and the shoes? Right? That's the price you had to pay to get the girl. And I said to this person, the reason why I'm crying about this is when I got to the date, I realized that even if I didn't have the shoes, this date would have gone well. Right? So I realized that I had put myself under pressure to buy these sneakers. I was the one that did it to myself. I didn't need them. So I'm just keen for you guys to just think a bit about it, right? When last did you make an emotional purchase and what did you buy? So my examples are very extreme, but maybe you have one or two on your end. So if there's anybody that's free, that's brave enough to share, please raise your hand, or you're more than welcome to also just pop a little bit of a message in the chat. But what's really important is I want you to just start thinking about, when last did you make an emotional purchase with money? It's something that we do very, very often, and most of the time it's linked to mistakes, right? So anybody willing to share, let us know. S. Ntenga says, last night I ordered on Uber Eats unnecessarily. Ukhala. It happens. You're feeling lazy. Sometimes you're feeling down, like emotionally, and you're like, you know what? That makes this deluxe. I don't. It's gonna get the energy up again. Cindy says, I spent it on cake. So these things do happen. Sometimes your friends will be like, hey, we're here. It's happening. It's popping off. You don't have money, but now you're under pressure to go, and they were spending bottles, and now this money is for something else. But now I'm buying bottles. I'm buying Hennessy. I'm having shots. So these things do happen. The reason I bring this up is I just want you to become intentional about what are you doing with your money. Becoming intentional, right? So first thing that happens is I come across this book. I realize all these things. The second really important thing that happened to me, and it's one of the quick lessons that I want to share with you guys, is I met a very interesting lady called Dr. Ilza Alberts, and she was a wealth psychologist. She unfortunately passed away 2 years ago, but she was a wealth psychologist. So I'm sure we all know what a psychologist is, but she specialized in the area of wealth. Her job was to figure out, why do we behave the way we behave when we have money? So one of the jobs that she would do is, when somebody wins the lottery, one of the things that happens is you get to meet personal your finance advisors and all of that. You can also meet a wealth psychologist, because as you can imagine, you've won 20 million, you're going to lose your mind. So her job was to figure out, why do we behave the way we behave when we have money? And it's so crazy. Even when it's a small amount of money, we still go crazy. When your allowance comes in and that SMS comes in, you just feel, I can't explain it, just feel good, If you're at the ATM and you're making withdrawal and the machine does that, you just feel so good, So her job was to figure out, why do we behave the way we behave when we have money, right? And she said something to me that was very, very interesting, and it's the theme of this webinar. She said to me, Chepo, because you couldn't say Chepo, Chepo, I want you to imagine that you are in a romantic relationship with your money. Like, what do you mean? You mean me and money are dating? She's like, yes, right? What do you need to do in order to make this relationship work, right? What do you need to do in order for this relationship with money to thrive? This relationship, it requires commitment. This relationship requires trust. It requires compromise. It requires love, attention, affection. This relationship requires self-awareness. It requires respect. It requires you to spend time with your money, getting to know and to understand your money. Of these things that I've mentioned, these characteristics, do they apply in your relationship with money? Because if they don't apply, there's a very, very good chance that you don't have a good relationship with money. And so I started to think very deeply about this, right? Have you been committed with your money? You said you would save and invest. Did you do it? Can you be trusted with money? Or do you make compromises and sacrifices with your money? Do you show your money love, attention, affection, or only on the day it comes into your account? Are you self-aware with money, or do you become somebody brand new? Do you respect money? Because if these things don't exist in your relationship with money, you will not have a good relationship with money. Because when money realizes that it is in good hands, it wants to stay and multiply in those hands. In other words, money reciprocates. If you take care of money, money will take care of you. If you save money, one day money will save you. If you invest money, one day money will pay you back an income. So we need to be very real. If earlier on we said we don't have a good relationship with money, money wouldn't say good things. Are you committed? Are you trustworthy? Do you compromise? Right? So You wouldn't be in a relationship with somebody that's not committed to you, they're always cheating. You wouldn't be in a relationship with somebody that you don't trust. You wouldn't be in a relationship with somebody who doesn't compromise. They always make it about themselves, they're not self aware. You wouldn't be in a relationship with somebody who doesn't love you, doesn't give you attention, doesn't give you affection, somebody who disrespects you. So, why do you expect money to stay with you? Oh, oh. Hey, she was hitting me with those jabs, those combination jabs. I was like, hey, this is getting serious. So I then said to her, what are the signs outside of these things that you've mentioned? How do I know that I've got a good relationship with money or a bad relationship with money? Are there other things that can tell me this? And she said to me, Tepo, people that have a good relationship with money, it's not necessarily perfect, but it is intentional. These are the people who respect money. They want to grow their money. They want to keep their money. They want to put their money to work. These are the people that have a budget. It doesn't have to be a complicated budget, but they know how much money is coming in and how much money is going out and why. These are the people that are saving and investing. And I'm not talking about large sums of money, guys, but that 100 rand, that 50 rand, that 10 rand, that 200 rand, right? Now you can start investing and buying shares for 1 rand. There's no excuse, guys. You can start buying shares for 1 rand. These are the people that are managing their debt and credit, right? So they are paying back equally. Not perfect, but intentional. And then she said to me, people that don't have a good relationship with money, it's not that they are bad people, but they're not intentional about their money. They don't respect their money, right? Money realizes that it is in bad hands when it's with them. These are the people who don't budget. The money comes in, the money goes out. These are the people that don't save, they don't invest, they don't even have 50 rand for an emergency. These are the people who don't manage their debt, they abuse credit. So these are the people who are not intentional about their money. They're not bad people, but they're not intentional about their money. They allow emotions to dictate the way in which they utilize money. So I was learning so many things. And then I realized that building a healthy relationship with your money, it starts with controlling your emotions, controlling your behavior, and then understanding your money personality. Who are you in your relationship with money? Right? Emotions, behavior, money personality. We actually spoke a little bit about the money personality. And for those that are still confused, I'm going to break it down for you. Right? So on the screen, these are pictures of my dad. Hey, but we're very handsome in this family. I see handsome man. Anyways, I digress, guys. I digress. So I'm gonna use my dad to explain what money personality is all about. So my dad grew up in a town called Begasfort. It's in Limpopo, and it is a small town that is surrounded by mines. So they mine a lot of platinum, a lot of chrome, that type of thing. And the town is now starting to grow. So now they've got like malls and all of this. But my dad grew up in a small village called Maferefer in Begasfort. Very, very small, very, very rural village. To this day, they do not have running water. To this day, they do not have electricity. Very, very rural. And when my dad talks about his upbringing, even now, my dad always gets very emotional. And old people, when they get emotional, they don't cry. You just see their eyes becoming very red. And my dad would always talk to me about his upbringing. He spoke to my upbringing, which, he didn't formally go to school. So he went to school, I think, up to grade 3 or whatever it was called back there, form what. And by school, I'm talking about a tree. I'm not talking about an actual building. The fact that my dad would walk, I think, 2 kilometers to school, and that my dad has never had school shoes before. So my dad comes from a very, very impoverished rural community. And when Christmas time comes, my dad always gets excited like a little child. I always wonder, why does he get excited? And my dad once said to me, how you would know in his village when he was growing up that it was Christmas time, the festive season, is you would see it with Christmas clothes. So the kids that he would play with in the village on Christmas Day, they would wear Christmas clothes. And my dad has never experienced that. He's never experienced having Christmas clothes. Because how do you worry about clothes when you don't even have food? So fast forward to 2025, and thankfully my dad is a very, very successful property investor. He's a millionaire, if I'm going to be quite honest with you. My dad has made a lot of money. He's very, very intelligent, very, very successful, even though he didn't go to school, right? So on the left-hand side, it's a Harley Davidson. it's around 300,000 rand. He's that type of guy, right? So growing up, I saw two sides to my dad. The first side that I saw to my dad is that my dad is very stingy with money. Guys, if I want to borrow 100 rand, I ask him for 100 rand. He's going to remind me that in 1993, he took me to primary school and this. Like he would just guilt trip me. And I'm like, it's just 100 rand. But I realized that my dad has trauma with money. So at the back of his mind, he feels like if he keeps giving people money, he's going to lose it all, right? And then I saw another side to my dad. And I realized that my dad loves clothes. Guys, my dad loves clothes with all of his heart. You know, to such a degree that if we're going to a funeral, my dad is best dressed at the funeral. You know, if we're going to a wedding, my dad looks so good, you get confused whether he's getting married or is the groom getting married. Who's getting married? Because you look better than the groom. Dad loves clothes, right? And now that I've told you a bit about my dad's upbringing, you'll realize that clothes aren't just clothes to my dad. Clothes symbolize something. They symbolize wealth to my dad. They symbolize prosperity. They symbolize that my dad has made it. And that's your money personality. So it's the way that you see money. It's your unique behavior, your attitudes, your emotional responses to money. And once again, like I mentioned earlier on, it comes down to your upbringing, your family, your friends, your environment, your personal experiences with money. If you come from a household where you've had nothing, when you grow up, it impacts you as an old person. It impacts you as an adult, right? It has an impact on you. So it's really important for you to understand what is your money personality, because your money personality, it can impact your relationship with money negatively, right? It can impact it negatively. So I'm going to explain what these money personalities are so that you can better understand what this means. So we've got the one personality called the saver. We're going to refer to this person as Ujabu. Ujabu is the penny pincher, the person that takes pride in saving money. They prioritize saving, budgeting, and they want to ensure that everything that they buy is value for money. Right? If you had to ask Ujabu, Jabu, where in Durban CBD can I find the cheapest gym? He will tell you, you go to this corner, that corner, you will find it. And all the specials, Wacky Wednesday, 2 for 1, he knows about all the specials, right? So Jabu is a person that is obsessed with saving. There is nothing wrong with saving. But in your relationship with money, it is all about having a balance. So sometimes the problem with people that save in this manner, they sometimes compromise on quality because they want to save. And if you're saving, when do you reward yourself? When you're saving, when do you start to invest in shares and property, right? But saving is a good thing. I'm not saying that being a saver is a bad person, but everything in life has to have a balance. Then we've got those people who are nervous with money, right? Nervous with money. We'll call this person Andre. So these are the people who are always stressed about money. They're always worrying about money. You know, they're always thinking about future expenses, you know, unexpected emergencies. You know, you're already thinking about how am I going to afford my fees next year? You know, you're always stressed, you're always thinking about money. Like I said earlier on, life is always about having a balance. So on the one side, you do have to think about your money. You have to plan for your money. You have to budget. But goodness me, you cannot have nightmares about your money. You cannot wake up in the middle of the night kicking blankets because of debit orders. There has to be a balance, right? So even when you're nervous with money, there has to be a balance. So one of the ways that you balance the nervousness when it comes to money, the stress and the worry, is you have to have an emergency fund. Because the emergency fund is your insurance. If things go wrong, I tap into my emergency fund. That's how it impacts your relationship with money. Then we've got the spender, the Michelles of this world. My dad is a spender. So these are the people that want to enjoy their money. You know, you hear them saying things like, Imali, we are pupush. Spend it, but the money will come back tomorrow. What if you die tomorrow? Just eat it now. Okay? You deserve nice things. These are all the things that I've heard, right? So these are the people who enjoy spending money on themselves, on other people, you know, and their thinking is that life is meant to be enjoyed, you know. Life is, you know, you never know. You might die tomorrow. So just enjoy this money. You've been working hard. These are the people that when they see something, they buy it. It doesn't matter how they can afford it, right? They're going to buy that thing. Once again, spenders are not bad people. I believe that life has to have a balance, right? So When your money comes in, take care of the important things, take care of the priorities. How are you getting to campus? How are you buying groceries? How are you buying your toiletries? Take care of the important things. Then you can spend on the things that you think are important to you. But put money in your savings account, in your emergency fund. Take care of all the priorities, pay off some of your debt. And then whatever's left over is what you can enjoy. So I always say to my dad, when your money comes in from your properties, take care of all the important things, the cars, the petrol, the school fees, all of those things. And then in your budget, you have something that says Louis Vuitton because you want to spend on clothes. But at least you've taken care of all the important things. The next one is Zandile, the investor. So these are the people who are obsessed with investing. These are the people that have a side hustle. They are always investing in something. It's forex. Now it's crypto. Now they've got the side hustle. Now they're investing in this company. So these are the people who are obsessed with investing money, right? They love to invest their money. And their idea is that, I want to grow generational wealth. It's important for me to build wealth. They're almost obsessed with it, right? Once again, I think investing is a great thing, but everything in life has a balance. If you're investing, when do you get to enjoy this money? Because investing is different and investing is difficult. Investing is long term, you're sacrificing money. So when do you get to enjoy and reward yourself a little bit, right? So once again, a little bit of a balance. And then last but not least, we have Brian the avoider. So this is the person who isn't concerned about money, about finances. Their feeling is that money will sort itself out. There's no reason to stress. Let me take a nap. This thing will fix itself. So we have those people. So just as we wrap up this webinar, I'm just keen to see, and maybe you guys can put it in the chat, because there'll be a lot of people. Is of these 5 different money personalities, which one do you mostly identify with? Like I mentioned it, and you're like, hey, that's me. Hey, that's me. I do think that most of us have a mix of different money personalities, but there is the dominant one, right? So, keen to see in the chat, are you a Jabu, a saver? Are you Michelle, a spender? Are you Andrea, a person that's nervous with money? Are you a Zandile, a person that invests? Are you Brian, a person who avoids these money conversations? Right? Keen to sort of figure out what type of person are you. So as we wrap up the webinar, this is the key takeaway. For me, these are the most important things. Guys, we need to start being intentional with our money. This thing of we're just spending, we're not caring, we're not being mindful. You guys will get a job and you will see what adulting is like. Lots of people are living beyond their means. Lots of people are not saving, they're not investing, they're not surviving. And the first thing you need to do, you need to be intentional with your money. What do you want to do with your money? Do you have a budget? Are you saving? Are you investing? You need to understand that your emotions, your money personality, the way you behave, it's very crucial when it comes to money, right? So how you behave with money, it matters. You have to develop a teachable money spirit. So when I went through that journey, I was going everywhere, guys. I was reading books, I was going to webinars, I was listening to radio. It's very sad that as young people, you know about everything that's happening in the world. You know about all the TikTok trends, but you don't know that level of detail about your own, right? And then to remember that money reciprocates. Whatever you do to money, it'll do it back to you. So most of the time when people have webinars on money, they'll do this big budgeting exercise, saving exercise, all of that. And that's great, that's important. But if your behavior is already wrong, the information won't do anything for you. So I want you to think about your money, be intentional with your money, plan with your money, ensure that the way in which you behave matches your money. And that brings us to the end of the webinar. I'll take any questions that you guys might have. It might be around the Blackbullion platform. It might be around money in general. I am not a financial advisor. I can't give financial advice. I'm a financial educator, so I can explain a lot of things. For the last couple of minutes that we have, please feel free. You can put your question in the chat. You can raise your hand. I was invited to do a talk at APSA 2 weeks ago. And you would think that people that work in the bank know everything about money. You'll be shocked, guys. You'll be very, very shocked about the things that come out. So if anybody has any question, please feel free to ask those questions. It might be about Blackbullion, it might be about money, it could be anything. As Gumete says, I'm definitely a Michelle. I see somebody else giving some positive feedback saying it was a really informative, fruitful, eye-opening session. So yeah, thank you guys so much. Yes, Ronald, sorry.
Thank you so much, Stepo. We have a lot of Michelles in the house here, so I'm hoping that we can convert them once the DUT Rise program carries on. Can you just explain to them about the 3 pathways that they need to complete by the end of September in order to finish the first milestone for the program?
Perfect. So when you get onto the platform, I'm just going to quickly go back out of it. So when you get onto the platform, you will land on the library. So the library is where all of the content is, right? So let's just say you decide, I want to start by learning about, as an example, I want to start learning about, let's say, budgeting, right? As an example. So let's say you search for budgeting. If you search on budgeting, you will see there's a pathway for budgeting and there are articles. There are 10 of these pathways. So if I click on a pathway is an interactive lesson. So it's got videos, it's got these lessons here, and then it's got a quiz at the end. As you can see, it's currently locked. It's locked because I haven't watched the different lessons. So as you watch a lesson, it'll open the next lesson, it'll open the next lesson, it'll open the next lesson, and then right at the end, you will have a challenge of 10 questions. Once you've completed these 10 questions and you've passed, the pathway is then completed. There's 10 of them. You'll find them throughout the platform. There's one on saving, there's one on budgeting, there's one on investing, there's one on student life, there's one on credit scores. There's about 10 of them. So when you open the pathway, it'll look exactly like this. There'll be this video that you can watch. There'll be these different lessons. And then as you come here to the bottom, once you've done all of that, it'll then unlock the challenge. So as an example.
So you need to know about budgeting. Blackbullion has got you covered. We'll take you through the basics, like income and expenses, what budgeting is, how it.
So you would watch this as an example. As you're done, you go into the next video, you automatically go into the next video. And then right at the end, you then have a quiz of 10 questions. Once you've answered the questions and you've passed, the pathway is complete. You'll actually earn badges as you go through the content. That's how it works. So we will keep emailing you guys. So as you get into the platform, you'll see we email you guys quite a lot. We engage with you guys quite a lot to encourage you to complete the pathway. So as you can see, this one is known as a pathway. So there's 10 of them throughout the platform. So how you'll find them is if you go to the library and you engage with some of the content on the library, you'll be able to find them. So if you look right here, it basically says pathway 15 minutes, pathway 12 minutes. If you go through it right at the end, there's normally a quiz. Budgeting, there's another one. Here's one around trust funds. Here's another one around credit scores, saving as an example. There's another one. Let's see what else is here. There's one on student lifestyle. There's one on investing. There's one on debt. So there's 10 of these different pathways. And you'll find them on the platform once you've logged in. I hope that makes sense. So you can do it on your cell phone, on your laptop, on your PC, on your tablet, on any device that can link onto the internet. So it isn't data heavy at all, but you can basically do it on any sort of device. So yes, the person saying I'm on a cell phone, you can do it on a cell phone as well, or you can do it on a laptop. Any device, as long as you can connect to the internet, you'll be able to do it. Any other questions? I see one question from, I can't see this person.
Yeah, so they said, so do we do any 3 of those? Yeah.
Yeah, you can do any of the 3.
According to your interest, whatever you want to do, we're perfectly okay with that as long as you complete 3 pathways by the end of September. Now they want to be friends with people that bought vodka. I'm getting worried now whether they're in the right program or not.
No.
We're
You
trying
must
to prepare them for their
do right thing.
future.
Do right thing. Do a right thing. Do right thing. Any other questions?
Is it
Um,
wrong to save more and spend less?
is it wrong to save more and spend less? I don't think there's a wrong or right, but I do think it's important to save. And when we talk about spending, start with the priorities. Take care of all the important things that you need to take off. The problem is most people that are working, their money will come in and they'll spend on all the things that they want to spend on, groove, going out, all of that. And then they want to take care of the priorities. So as long as you take care of the priorities, the important things, you save, you invest, rent, all of that, then the money is yours to do what you choose to do with it. That's the way that I see it. But take care of all the right things, save, invest, budget, take care of all your priorities. And then whatever's left is what you can basically spend on yourself. The other person, a question for Tsepo. So do you think you've achieved balance in terms of your relationship with money, and why? I don't. I think every day I learn something new about money because I'm also a human being. So you hear even in my webinar, I don't come from a place of perfection. Like I know it all. I've made so many mistakes with money. I still make mistakes. The difference between me and other people is I'm a bit more intentional. So I've got a budget. I save, I invest. I'm very intentional about my money, but I always make mistakes with money, even to this day. I still make mistakes with money. But like I said, your relationship doesn't have to be perfect. It just needs to be intentional. Very few of us are just doing the right basic things. Yeah, that's it from my side. Anything else?
Tsepo,
Um,
I'm a bit worried about time at the moment, because we did say that our webinar will be an hour. And I'm thinking that because there's so many questions, and I can see that this is a topic that is really interesting the guys, would you be happy to do another follow-up?
yeah. We can definitely do a follow-up where people have had a chance to get onto the platform. There'll be more questions, and then you can even
Yeah, and I
maybe tell
think
me what themes you want me to cover. And we
yeah,
can
maybe
ping it
then
around.
we'll have a more interactive session with them, Tsepo. Maybe we can even do a face-to-face if you're willing to come back to Durban.
Yeah, I'll definitely try find time in my schedule, but let's have a look and see how it goes.
Absolutely. Okay, so the guys are asking me, firstly, thank you so much, Seppo. I just told the guys here in the office that you're such a brilliant presenter and a facilitator that I didn't even notice that an hour had passed. So, and I think the guys on the DUT Rise program can also attest to that. They have your full attention, and they were actually listening and being interactive. So thank you so much for that. Your energy, your positivity, your vibe, thank you for it. Thank you for all the DUT Rise students. Thank you so much for your interaction, for your your wonderful comments. We see the true personality shining through there. And we know that we have a lot of work to do to get you to where we need you to be in order to integrate you into the world of work. The secret phrase that I'm going to be using, because I've been recording this session as well, and I expect the people who are not here to watch the recording, is that the logo of the Advancement and Alumni Relations Unit, well, the tagline is connecting and giving for life. So that's the phrase that you guys will use in the feedback survey, so that I know that you were present and I know that y'all have been here for the duration or you've watched it. It's connecting and giving for life. Everybody got that? You can unmute and say yes, no, maybe, sometimes. Is everyone
Yes.
good? Awesome, awesome, awesome. So it's connecting and giving for life. Okay. Guys, we'll be in touch with you. We'll send you the feedback survey. We'll give you the details of what we expect of you coming forward. Once you finish those 3 pathways, then we get to meet you guys face to face. We will be hosting an induction with you, a proper induction where we get to welcome you and give you guys your t-shirts. We're very excited about the t-shirts, and we hope you wear it proudly. If you guys are having any issues, please do not be afraid to reach out to us. You know we're always available. We're always answering your questions. So just reach out to us and we'll be able to assist you, myself or Sakile. Sakile is your first point of contact. If you're not getting any joy from him, then you can reach out to me, but he will be your first point of contact in terms of any administrative stuff that you're having issues with. But thank you once again. I hope you guys have a beautiful afternoon, and we will chat to you soon. Thank you. Bye.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Bye.